All right, we do have a quorum here now, so I'll call the meeting to order. We need approval on first agenda item, meeting minutes from January the 18th. Those were in our packet. Anybody have any questions or?
Motion approved.
Got a motion? We have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. All right. Next order of business is our new business, zoning map rezoning amendment for the Tombo Milliken for, I won't read all of it, but it's related to address 494 Old State Road, map number 02100000012. So,
Yes, sir. The applicant, again, Tombo Milliken, is requesting the property located at 494 Old Sandy Run Road, Gaston, South Carolina, tax map number 02100000012. Current zoning is community, commercial, industrial, and rural neighborhood. The applicant is requesting to have the property rezoned to commercial and industrial, so removing that rural neighborhood zoning classification. The site itself is made up of approximately 138 acres. The lot has primary access from Old Sandy Run Road. Additional access is off of Livingston Road. The property is within 250 feet of I-26, exit 125. Majority of the site itself is undeveloped. There is one single-family residential structure on the lower western corner of the property. Adjacent properties to the north are zoned rural neighborhood. To the east are zoned rural preservation. To the south is commercial and industrial zones. And to the west is the rural neighborhood and commercial zone. The surrounding area is a mixture of commercial, undeveloped, vacant, and residential uses. Again, the applicant's requesting to rezone the property from its current zoning of rural neighborhood, industrial, and commercial to just commercial and industrial. Currently, the frontage on Old Sandy Run Road is zoned commercial and rural neighborhood. The frontage along Livingston Road is currently zoned industrial and rural neighborhood. The remaining rear property is currently zoned rural neighborhood. Let me pull up the zoning map for you for a visual. The highlighted is the property. That brown shade is current zoning of rural neighborhood. The red shade is going to be the industrial zone, and then the yellow is your commercial zone currently.
This is the same map that she's showing.
The property posting was on, we posted on the property on the 29th of January. The notice was published in the newspaper on the 30th of January. Letters were mailed out to adjacent property owners on the 30th of January. Meeting notice and agenda was posted on the county's Facebook page and web page on February the 6th. In your packet, you have the request showing what the applicant is proposing to eliminate the rural neighborhood zoning district and to reestablish that as industrial, and then the frontage on Old Sandy Run Road to commercial. Any questions on that? And the applicant is here, I believe, tonight.
It's directly in
If
front of
you
the
have any
Calhoun
questions.
Express.
yeah. Across the street, yeah.
And you can see on the zoning map on the screen that around the interchange there, the I-125 interchange, properties are zoned commercial and industrial on all four quadrants. Across from the property, there's the Palmetto Express, and there's a few businesses further down the road. But all the current zoning on those four quadrants of the interchange are already commercial and industrial zoned. Any questions you have?
I don't have any questions.
Any questions, Josh?
I guess directly to the applicant, or
Um,
just about the case in general?
Do you want to do that during the public
Yeah.
comment?
We'll do that then. Yeah, we'll do that then. No, I don't have any questions.
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
No current questions. So, can move on to the public hearing. You have the sign-up sheet. How many are we looking at?
All right, the first one is the applicant, Tombo Milliken. If you want to say his-
How many is it?
12.
All right, we'll do 3 minutes each. So, go ahead.
Thank you. Can y'all hear me? Or do we need to turn this on?
No, I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, it is? Yeah. Good evening, Planning Commissioner Chairman Hill, other Planning Commission members, staff, and members of the community. My name is Tombo Milliken. I work with NAI Columbia, a Columbia-based real estate firm. I'm here to request approval for the rezoning of the Bellinger property, which is 138 acres at Old Sandy Run Road and Livingston Road, just off of I-26, on behalf of my client. The Bellinger property is currently zoned community, commercial, industrial, and rural neighborhood. Our request is to remove the rural neighborhood component and replace that with industrial zoning. Given the property's proximity to the interstate and the nearby existing commercial and industrial uses, we feel that a mixture of commercial and industrial zoning is compatible for the immediate area, as the other 3 quadrants, this interchange are zoned commercial and/or industrial. We also believe that this proposed rezoning is compatible with the existing comprehensive plan and the Sandy Run area plan. I believe you've also received a letter of support from the Bellinger family in your package, I believe. I'm glad to answer any questions you may have now or later.
The existing residence that's in that southern portion of the property, is that occupied?
No, my understanding was there was someone renting it or staying there for a while, but no, there's no one there now, to the best of my knowledge.
Okay. And looking at the application, there's no immediate plans for
No,
a...
sir. No, sir.
Okay.
You got any questions? Mr. Chestnut? Okay. Thank you. Who's
Thank you.
next?
Dennis,
Spilding.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I live right around the corner from where that place is, and I just had a few questions, to be honest about it. One of the things is rumors. One of the rumors I heard, and maybe this is just false, where the houses are, right here, somebody said that they were considered historical property and you couldn't tear them down. Do you have any ideas if that's true or not?
I do not, but I wouldn't doubt that.
You doubt it?
I say I would not doubt it if it is. I mean, I know it's a very old home, and I know Mr. Bellinger loved it, so.
So if it is historical and you can't tear it down, then what becomes of the zoning request to change it into commercial? Interesting question.
Good
The other thing is, I come up Livingston Road, which is right here, And right there, it's always extremely interesting pulling out because you can't see anybody coming across the bridge until you're halfway into the highway. If that parcel is rezoned commercial, I would sincerely hope that some effort is made to somehow reroute the traffic there. It's just an accident waiting to happen. That's really what it comes down to. On the other hand, I must admit, this is sort of overdue. Whether we like it or not, we need to control growth. And this is one of those places where we can control growth. If we rezone that commercial, I would like to think that we can handle the growth that's coming to that area right there. With a lot of planning and a lot of foresight. Thank you.
David Budenbender.
Hi, how are y'all doing today? Basically, I'm gonna kind of touch on what he said as well, as I had heard it was a historical house, wondering what was gonna go with it. The other thing I do wanna note is, I believe she said it was, notices were sent to all the adjacent property owners. That is not true, because I am at 046 right there to the east, and I was never notified, so that's just one little thing I'd like to note as well. But that was my main question, why I signed up, was the historical value of the house.
Is the property listed in the historic registry?
That I don't know.
I don't know. Okay.
Ida Caller.
Just to clarify, how were the notifications sent out?
They're mailed to contiguous properties.
So at 161 Branham Branch Road, Mr. David,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the GIS address are pulled
do
on the adjacent.
you currently have a mailbox for that? Okay.
So it's from the assessor database.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the parcel, and it's got 161 Branham Branch Road. That is your address, correct? Swansea? Okay. All right, sorry, Ms. Cullen.
That's all right. Sandy Run has a zoning plan in place that was designed to protect us from the very situation which we are now facing again. A plan to protect the rural life which we enjoy. A plan to protect the residents, the environment, the resources, everything in the Sandy Run community. Approving this change will be the beginning of the end of the lifestyle of the people in Sandy Run, which will eventually spread to all of Calhoun County. More industry will affect the traffic at exit 125. Do we really want 125 to turn into the traffic nightmare where traffic backs up on I-26, causing accidents to happen? I live on Valley Ridge Road, and it is extremely rare for me to go through the 125 intersection without seeing multiple cars and 18-wheelers sitting on the exit ramps, waiting to make a left turn onto Old Sandy Run Road. I feel sure the Milliken Company wants us to believe that industry will bring jobs for the residents of Sandy Run. I personally don't know of anyone from Sandy Run who works at some of those businesses right there at 125. Mr. Milliken, please don't spout the rhetoric about how your company is so community-minded and will support company activities. Not that you have, but I know that will be a part of the publicity. We've heard those words from other companies, and you absolutely cannot get support from those businesses now for various community activities in Sandy Run. More industry in our community will negatively impact the environment, including air, water, wildlife, natural resources. As far as the environment goes, this part of the good earth will be no more. We want growth, but it has to be good growth. Growth is outlined in our zoning plan. This tract is zoned partially for residential. Please don't try to reinvent the wheel, or in this case, revise the zoning plan. In closing, if you do not want this kind of proposed development built next door to your house, by all means, vote against it. But if you do want this kind of development next door to your house, please let Mr. Milliken know so he can buy 138 acres in your backyard. Thank you.
Bonnie Budenbender.
I accidentally signed out of that, but I can talk from here. Is that okay?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll go for it. My son owns a property that's adjacent to this property that you're discussing, and he has contacted the Bellingers to buy part of their property. They absolutely refuse to sell it, so he could have right away to his property. All they're looking at is they live out of town, they could care less about this here. And that's the main problem, is that all of them live either in New Jersey or whatever, Rhode Island, or in Ohio, and they could care less about Sandy Run. And the people that live here care, and so you can take it from there.
Michael Hill.
Thank you, Commissioner. Not working. It's not working?
Yeah, it does.
Talking to it that close. I'm gonna talk loud. As many people know, some of you know, my house is 1 mile from that property. Use the county map measurement tool. Right around there are houses. I know the Kyle Trotter's house is 75 feet from the property line right there on the bottom corner. Joe and Brenda Pravat's house is 315 feet from the property line. Those families have lived there for many, many years, generations. Mr. George Bellinger, who unfortunately passed away, that lived there, I can attest that he loved that land. He did not want anything disturbed about that. He had me over there. He used to plow his field. He had my brother over there. He used to plow his fields and take care of it. Unfortunately, he passed away, and now his children have got it. So they don't live here. They don't care about it. That's why they want to sell it. One of the other points I wanted to make is that close by the Calhoun Industrial Park, which is right here on the other side of the interstate, the county still owns, according to the tax map, there's a 187.4 acre tract still available, still in there that the county owns. That's industrial, commercial, or industrial anyway. And there is a 119 acre tract in there. And then we have the what we call the gateway tract. The one that ends in 0111 that got that we stopped the rezone on a year or whatever ago. That has now been rezoned to community industrial. Is that correct?
It's commercial industrial.
Commercial, yeah, community commercial. Is that right? Okay. So my point of that is there's already more than enough land already that has been changed over and rezoned or currently zoned for business and commercial. At that property right there, except for the frontage, right there on the frontage that attaches to Old Sandy Run Road, that is vital to keeping the rural community and feel of Sandy Run together. That's what we all are here. That's what most people are here probably fighting to keep. We don't want to see that changed. But if that property got leveled back in there, if it turns into like what the Sandy Run Industrial Park looks like up at Eastman, which looks like a bomb went off, that would just, it would completely change the looks of Sandy Run. I have friends, I have people that I know that come down that have made comments to me and other people that say, every time I come to Sandy Run, it just looks, it looks terrible. What's going on? Tell them what's going on. But there's more than enough land around this area that's already zoned commercial, industrial, that doesn't need to be changed. Leave it alone. That's really my whole point was that. There's enough there. We don't need anything else changed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Troy Pravat.
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 Everybody pretty much touched on the points I was gonna make, but I can't wake up in the morning already and not smell Starbucks coffee every single day. I'm sick of smelling coffee, and I'm sick of smelling plastic from Caroline Eastman. If another plant comes in here, it's gonna ruin our environment. We care about our family, and the piece of property I own on Livingston Road, I have 2 children. One's in college, and one's gonna be in college soon. One day, I want them to be able to build on my property, and have their family, and enjoy what I had growing up. This is totally gonna destroy it, okay? We wanna keep Sandy Run, Sandy Run. My family's been on that road for over 200 years. We have a gravesite on our property. My grandmother was buried in 1861. We do not want to see this. This is a unique community. If Chapin and Lexington have it, they're changing laws there, and that's why they want to move to Sandy Run. Everybody in Sandy Run, if we want to work somewhere, we drive 15 minutes to West Columbia or Casey or Columbia. We're in an area, we don't need this industrial growth. We want to keep it the same, and that's all I got to say.
Jennifer Kahn.
I'm Jennifer Kahn. I live about a quarter mile from the property. When the zoning process was being done, my family attended meetings for public comment and then meetings around the actual zoning approval for this area. We made decisions based on the zoning plan as passed by Calhoun County Council. As to the rezoning of the subject parcel to the industrial commercial type use, I would be opposed. We have rules in place that were developed by a professional firm, vetted in the public area, and decided on by the county council with a vote. It's not fair to change these rules when citizens have made life decisions based on them.
D.D. Prickett.
Oops, that's on the wrong thing.
Jesse Adams.
Me too.
Oh,
Sorry.
You're fine. Jesse Adams.
Yeah, that's me.
Oh.
Wrong.
There was another,
Kim Prickett, no, he's not talking.
okay.
He signed on the wrong sheet.
That's everybody.
That's all that's on this list.
Can I say something? I didn't sign, but can I say something?
Yeah, we'll give you 2 minutes.
Somebody mentioned this, but, this pond here. I got 28 acres here. My 2 neighbors are back here. They own property around it. What I worry about with this situation, when you put it, we're talking industrial, you got some drainage. And wouldn't it be nice if they had drainage that could drain into my creek and run into my pond? I don't like that idea. And you hear about it happening all the time, but I just want to mention that about the pond and the drainage. And that comes with industrial waste,
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
I don't want to see that. Thank you.
Well, I'll just start with reiterate a lot of what people have brought up. You know, I grew up there, you know, just like my brother said. We plowed that property for Mr. Bellinger. He loved that property. He would call every year. He wanted us to plow his property. He'd bring us in, show us the house, and that's another point. But you know, I'm also want to go back to all the work that Mr. Nelson and all the citizens of this area, back however many years ago, we had the foresight, or they had the foresight, along with many other people, to go in and do this plan. You know, I participated in some of the meetings, and I know we were part of the actual adoption of it and approving of it. But, you know, the plan's not perfect, and I know we kind of just made some swaths here along the interstate that made sense, but that whole corridor there, that triangle, as I call it, you look at all that, that is predominantly all residential or something. There's a few small commercial, and, you know, that commercial there, I can understand that, but I know the gas station that's there, it is created, it's dangerous over there now. I dread, my wife goes every morning to school that way, and I dread it for her, just like people are talking. It may be 45 through there, but 45 means 60 to people anymore. Trucks going way, you pull out at Livingston Road, there's 5 different directions of traffic you got to look for, and then speeders, and that's just not a fit for this area. You know, if you pull up the zoning map, there is plenty of other industrial areas that are up around Eastman. We got our Calhoun Industrial Park, and I may not be using the right terms, but we do have property over there. There's other properties along there that I feel are opportunities or possibilities. This to me is not a moving in the plan that was envisioned back 10 years ago by all the folks that sat down and went through all those meetings and took their time to work through this plan. And so that's my thoughts on the situation. And I feel that our plan, what we laid out here is very solid and is how we wanted to, how the county was to grow and what we saw for the area, so.
If, so there's nothing planned now, if a plan is, does an actual site plan come back, or is that handled at a staff level?
Typically, right now, it's internal.
It's a staff level review? Okay. Introduce myself, I'm Josh Rabon. I know a lot of y'all probably remember me from the last time we met, and I know that feelings about me probably aren't the greatest. But anyway, one of the things that I think are important to consider, in addition to everything Mr. Hill just said, is the value of property rights, and just to make sure that if property is handed down from generation to generation, there may be different opinions of what needs to go there. So things can change. Now that is just something to consider. I'm not saying it's the end all be all, but we have to make sure that we don't want the government in our pockets, but then we use it to tell other people what they can and can't do. Just weighing that in concert with everything else that is said, that was said tonight, which were all very valid points. So families, have lots of land. It's not a unique situation to Sandy Run or Calhoun County for large tracts of land to be handed down, from generation to generation as things change, as people's not people's values, but people's desires change or whatnot. So there may be children or grandchildren who may think differently about what they want to do with the certain pieces of property. So just a lot of different things to consider, in addition to certainly the environment, the home being on the historic register. That's certainly, the SHPO, State Historic Preservation Office, typically has GIS data where you can find that. There are also ways to plat things like that out and preserve them. Obviously, with the traffic, there's existing industrial there that'll have traffic, and the exit 125, certainly any development would require traffic studies and improvements. So discussing a rezoning in and of itself isn't going to change everything, and there are a lot of things that have to go into it that will mitigate some of these concerns. So just basically wanted to throw those points and for that perspective out there in regards to this.
I have a question, Representative from Milliken. So you're requesting this zoning with no intentions or plans whatsoever, not even, a vision. They're just buying this tract of land. I just find it hard to believe that they're investing this amount of money without some type of game plan.
Yeah, sure. So Mr. Milliken, me, is not buying the property. I'm here on behalf of my client. So there is no Milliken company or anything like that. No, my client, who's a South Carolina resident and invests in businesses and property all over South Carolina, we don't have a plan. The only thing that I know from watching and talking to people is that there's been a serious resistance against residential development in this immediate area. No, we do not have a plan.
Not true. Not residential of,
Follow the rules.
yeah, that,
I've watched from afar on the 11011. No, my client does not have immediate plans to, a master plan for the property or anything like that. I work commercial real estate in other areas a lot around Columbia, and when I see a property that's located right here by the interstate that's partially zoned commercial and industrial, when I look at the other quadrants that are also zoned, it's very telling that the other parcels are zoned. If y'all will allow me, I'll address two comments that are made if you're open to that earlier. I have no way of knowing if that is a historic home. If it is, it would be registered with SHPO, and my client would adhere to whatever rules there are or are not in regards to the house. I've never personally been in the house, so I can't answer that. I understand that there's some very old wood in the house, and that's all I was told. DOT obviously is the governing authority on traffic, and I think this community needs to talk to DOT about traffic in that area. There's no question about it.
Has there been any discussion or consideration given the environmental concerns and the rural feel or whatnot of increasing any required buffers of adjacent zoning to neighborhood residential or rural neighborhood?
No, of course, open any conversation. There's a pond, Mr. Sorry. For that. But no, I mean, whatever DHEC requires, is what my client would adhere to.
I'm an implant, all right, so I'm not a natural-born Calhoun County resident, first and foremost. And when I took this position on the Planning Commission, I do a lot. My wife tells me I need to drop some hats. But anyway, we left White Knoll, Boiling Springs Road. We had a little 2 acres over there, and they were getting ready to build White Knoll High School at the time. And I left Lexington County to come to Calhoun County because I worked at Ford Motor Credit off of Bush River Road, and it took me 48 minutes to get to work in the morning, and I could get home in the evening in about 19 minutes. It was a 19-minute drive. So I understand some of these residents' concerns about traffic, but as a member of the Planning Commission, we have to look at what's best for the county as a whole as opposed to my personal feelings. So I sympathize with these people. And my concern is, just as we've here on the Planning Commission, is that everyone talks a good game initially when we're trying to get these approvals, but on the back end, we catch it, just like with these solar farms. So, you know, they make so many promises to us up front, and we find it hard to keep them, to obligate themselves to what they committed to in the beginning once the approval is. So I guess to address their concerns is if this property is rezoned, you know, we don't want to write a developer a blank check to be able to go up there and just do what they want to do. And so it's hard for us to commit and say, take our word, when we have no idea what they intend to do with the property. And that's my concern, you know. But I'm all for growth, and I tell people, but I live here in the town of St. Matthews, you know. I don't have to deal with that traffic, you know. So I have to, as much as I want to see growth and development countywide, I want it to be done properly. And I think that, you know, I don't want us to be Blythewood or Boiling Springs Road, Lexington, you know, at that Platte Springs number 6 area. You know, I don't want Lowe's and Walmart and everything in Sandy Run, you know, but I think we can control the growth, but I'm just leery. And it's not you, it's just being burnt, past experiences, you know, so that's my.
Okay. Anybody have any other comments? All right. Thank you, Mr. Chestnut. Thank you all. All right. Well, next on the agenda would be a vote for this rezoning request. Is there a motion? No motion on the table to pass or to rezone this property, so I would say, I don't know, do we have to have a vote, yes or no?
A recommendation has to be made.
A recommendation of not to accept I make a recommendation that we not rezone it at this time. Is there a second?
Is there an option to table it?
You can table it for further review. You can table it for the next meeting.
I say we table it. I make a motion that we table it.
We have a second?
Second.
Well, we have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. So, 2-1 passes. Oh, I'm sorry, did you vote? I'm sorry, I
Yes,
was
sir.
not paying. Okay, you said in favor?
Of
Okay.
table, of table.
2-1, okay.
So
Sorry.
that will come back before you, just for clarification, that will come back before you as old business at your next scheduled meeting.
Okay. All right. All right, next on the agenda would be our update for the 2024 comprehensive plan update. I assume Mr. Gardner is going to be, or you got
I'll
some?
make a few comments, and then if Mr. Gardner has any comments.
Okay.
you can- As you all are aware, we've been working on the comprehensive plan update, the 10-year update for this past year. A final presentation on the draft materials on the 10 chapters of the plan were presented at the January meeting. There is still time for comments. There is a survey on the county's website for any comments that is still open. All the draft materials are on the county's website as well for viewing. We are accepting any comments to look at making minor adjustments to the plan, but just being aware that the final drafts are posted, they've been presented, and we are just waiting to get those final revisions done prior to submitting it for your final recommendation for acceptance. And again, all of those drafts, the maps, the tables, charts are on the county's website under the 2024 Comprehensive Plan Update. And that survey link is still open and accepting responses. I think today I looked, we're up to about 104 responses. And then we'll have that to present with comments at the next meeting as well to you.
So y'all taking the comments and addressing them, or are they
We are
being
reviewing, yes, they're
put
being
into
read.
plan
Mhm.
if they're,
Sure.
okay.
So we have 104 comments,
104 today, 104 comments today.
and we got a population of 14,000?
Correct.
Mr. Garner, did you have any comments you wanted to make or anything?
Answer any questions. I was here to be available if you had questions. Had a long presentation last month. So it's kind of hard to summarize it in 2 minutes, and I don't think you want to spend any more time than that.
There is an executive summary
Yeah,
that will be published and put on the website as well,
Okay.
to the plan itself. So I think you have that in your packets
Yeah.
tonight too. So that's not on the site yet, but it'll get updated and placed on the webpage tomorrow.
Okay. Y'all have any questions of Mr. Gardner when he came down here?
No.
I think that's it. No other staff updates or anything?
No, we don't have any.
Okay.
One moment.
I would like to let everybody know that Mr. Gardner, that's doing the planning for the county, will be at the Sandy Run Chili Cook-Off on March 2nd it's 10 to 1. So if you want to come and have your input there, we welcome you to come do that.
You need to tell me about the chili.
Yeah, Amanda, can I still ask a question? Or I
When
got-
is it? March 2nd, right?
Oh, I got a catering event. I can't be cater for the
When, I think that's a great idea. When is the Purple Martin?
April,
April 19th and 20th.
I guess, would it be, Mr. Gardner, would you be able to come to that as well?
I had intended to last year, but had a family wedding in the way, so I didn't make it. But
Congratulations.
yeah, I could do that.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
and the next meeting will be March 21st.
March 21st.
Commission.
All right. Let's try and encourage our fellow other members to attend. So, anyway, we need a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion that the meeting be adjourned.
All
Second.
right. Second.
Second.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.